The new generation Ford EcoSport was launched in South Africa pretty recently. I was on the launch, and this over here, on test now with Motor Matters, is the titanium spec version. In other words, the top level version. The changes very much to the new family trapezoidal grille that Ford have now, and to the headlights. You can see the different shape headlights, daytime running lights. You come round, very importantly, on titanium spec 17-inch mag wheels, nice big mags, and of course, typical of a crossover, your body cladding at the bottom and your roof racks standard on top. Coming around to the nice lines that you do have on the car, the fairly high rear end as opposed to certain of its opposition in the crossover range, and then round to the rear of the car, and this is something that's pretty interesting. First of all, the spare wheel outside on the back of the boot, which does create a lot more boot space in the back. Secondly, that the boot opens sideways and not as most lifting up, which is a big difference as well. Now, boot space was a criticism of the previous generation EcoSport. They've certainly increased it. It's about 330 litres of boot space now, with even a hidden little area below a secret compartment for safety and security if you require it. But overall, of course, because there's no spare wheel, it does free up a lot more boot space that way as well. The color of this car I want to mention, they call it Blue Lightning. It's a signature color for Ford, and I think it really epitomizes Ford's coloring overall. Looking at the instrumentation of the EcoSport, you'll see it's pretty clear, very legible, very standard. Fuel economy is a little bit of a question mark that I do have on the car. You'll see we've done just under 200 kilometers so far on this test, and averaging 10.6 liters per 100, which I can tell you now from the launch, you'll definitely get down to about 7 on open road driving and freeway driving, but it is a little bit heavier on the urban cruise and urban driving and driving around the city. Overall, of course, remembering that the 1 litre EcoBoost engine, which has won World Engine of the Year 6 years in a row, and that's an incredible achievement. So 1 litre 3-cylinder turbo petrol puts out 92 kilowatts and 170 newton meters of torque. So it's certainly got the guts, got the power, and well, if you enjoy it, I suppose you've got to be prepared to pay the price with a little bit more fuel consumption along the way, but that's part of the fun, isn't it? But it certainly is an exceptional little engine, and it does do the job very, very well. You come to the center and you look at, of course, the touch screen over here, which in titanium spec gives you an 8.5-inch touch screen as opposed to a 6.5-inch on trend spec. And it is a lovely system. You've got all the functions you want. Navigation, of course, in particular, which works really, really well. And it even has voice activation, because this is Sync 3, which is Ford's newest state-of-the-art technical, can I call it, system on infotainment and communication, etc. It really is exceptional. Works very, very well. The navigation in particular is superb, and that helps a lot. You come down in the center there, of course, you've got your climate control system, effective as it should be, and then down to the standard torque converter 6-speed automatic gearbox. Ford used to use a dual clutch system on the previous version, and well, it was known to give a few problems. They've reverted back to a torque converter, and I can tell you it's smooth as anything. Really a lovely gearbox, shifts beautifully, and in general commuting, it is an absolute pleasure to use. If you want to play around a little bit, you just shift down to sports setting, and then you can use those little paddles that are fitted to the steering wheel, and you can use that and play a little bit if you're in play mode. Overall, you can see throughout the interior of the car, titanium spec does give you a good touch and feel to everything. There's the glossy little section on the dashboard and full leather trim. Those are all features of titanium spec. You do get, of course, the diesel version, the 1.5 diesel, a known engine, and that comes in Ambiente spec only, which is the pretty stripped out spec, I think I'll call it. And then with the 1 litre engine, you get the option of either trend or titanium spec. I mentioned trend, of course, drops you down to the smaller screen, for example, And also you lose items like you go down to 16-inch wheels, no leather trim, and a few other facts and features. The push button start and things like that do not feature on the Trend. But of course there is almost a 40,000 Rand saving between Trend and Titanium 1-litre automatics. So of course that's a choice only you can make. Overall, priced at 339,900 Rand for this top spec, top of the range version with all the features that it does include. And remembering, you can save 40,000 Rand if you want to lose some features, but at the price, it is certainly market competitive. It certainly does match the competition, especially when you take into account that 4-year, 60,000 kilometer service plan that is now standard on all the new Ford models as well. For Motor Matters, I'm Alan R, and I'll see you next time.